We are live.
Hello and welcome to Moreness-Culture. Good morning, Syl.
Yes. Good morning,
Good
Beena.
morning.
Good morning. So,
Good morning,
let me sit
Rain.
a little to the
Good
side.
morning.
So,
Yes.
just
Good
to see
morning,
the crow
Crow.
sitting on my shoulder. Yes. Good morning,
Yes.
crow. Crow is going to come
Yes.
into it today, so that's why
Yes.
I
So
chose
good
that.
morning,
But I
Crow.
gotta
Good
sit.
morning,
I
Rain.
gotta sit like this for IG, for IG.
Yes.
So
But okay. But okay. We can see him or her. Okay. This is very interesting about
yes,
crows that
them,
I can never be actually sure about. Anyway, they have a very,
them.
very neutral vibe, according to me. Anyway, how are you guys? And welcome everyone, whoever is going to join us live on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube, or of course on Facebook, in Sassy Group, and will watch us recorded. Please, if you are watching us, do click like and subscribe to this tiny channel. By doing so, you are going to train your online algorithm that this tiny channel is providing some value in my life, which is of course a
Yes.
gesture of appreciation, and also it is a gesture of emphasis. By doing so, you are going to emphasize the goodness, you are going to emphasize what deliberate choices you are making in your life, which is of course very beneficial. So today's thought, while Syl is busy doing all these things, before coming here, we both were on. I'm the lucky one here again that I was on podcast with Jill Nicolini, a celebrity interviewer, and a very positive person. She has a very wonderful vibe and a very positive attitude. And with Syl Sabastian, as you already know him. So we were there, and I was just there to experience that what it actually looked like, because for me this is the most wonderful experience in my life right now. I can say that to be in these lives, and of course on the podcast also, and to be part of Way-Of-Impeccability. Of course, I'm just part of it because I have done this, and of
And
course
you're a
it is
facilitator.
yes, but
You
also that
became a facilitator. You learned to do that. It wasn't just automatic.
yes. Oh yes, and I'm enjoying every moment, every single moment, because every single moment, even if it is a repetition of by many times, but still I get so much value out of it. And I was sharing in the podcast also that what Way-Of-Impeccability did for me, other than such amazing list I have, such a humongous list I have, the perks and the benefits of Way-Of-Impeccability and bonus program, but the very basic one is it connected the already existing awareness I had, which was very random, which was literally haphazard and, of course, not organized, not making any vital connection. In other words, it was not usable. We all have awareness, we all have knowledge and information, especially in this era we are living in. We all have that. Nothing is new,
No,
very rarely actually,
no.
but almost everything is not new for us. We all are aware of it. But does that awareness which we have is useful for us? Does it making any difference? No. Why? Because it is not
That's the question.
usable. And why it is not usable? Because it is not connected. So what Way-Of-Impeccability did for me is just sorted out already existing awareness, concept, ideas,
Wonderful.
and then it makes connection. So
Wonderful.
for me, the checking mechanism for any concept, a new idea or awareness is to make a connection. If it is a vital connection, it is the energy is going through, then it is okay. Otherwise, this is the time to get rid of this. This is how I'm just checking. Any idea which is not connected, not making a vital connection to the other ideas and concepts I have acquired, then this is the time to say goodbye to that, because it might be useful, but not for me. And this is what I have been doing and continuously doing. So today's thought is pay attention to
Wonderful.
that
Wonderful, Beena. Absolutely
pertinence
wonderful.
and relevance, and of course the connectivity. Capital C connectivity
Keywords,
is huge, huge, huge,
keywords,
huge.
key conceptions, pertinence
Yes,
and relevance. When we have
yes,
pertinence and relevance, we are leveraged. we are enhanced. We connect to our moreness. We connect to moreness. Things matter more. They connect more. They're more important. They're more significant. They're more enjoyed. Make a difference.
Yes.
They make a difference.
Yes.
So it's very important
Yes.
to understand pertinence and relevance. And
Yes.
that's why clarity of intent is so crucial. Because the
Yes.
clearer your intent, the greater the pertinence and relevance, because you know what you want to connect to, you connect to that. And that clarity of intent, it is specifically for the purpose of enhancing pertinence and relevance.
And
Very,
yes.
very, very important. Now, also, I want to add something.
Yes.
We're going to start in a moment. And I want to add, though, Beena said, oh, our tiny channel. Tiny,
Yes.
yet filled with moreness.
Yes. Yes.
Doesn't matter
Yes.
that we're tiny. We have plenty,
Yes.
plenty, tons of moreness. We have moreness upon moreness upon moreness, because there's always more to moreness.
Yes. Yes.
There's always more to moreness. So Crow's
Yes.
a little shy. He's kind of hiding behind my head a little bit. But, you know, that's just how Crow is. So
Whispering in your ear.
whispering
Okay.
in my ear. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. All right. Wonderful, Beena. We are
Okay.
about to get started.
Yes. We are starting. Yeah. And I just want to add something more, of course, that Syl already mentioned that this channel is tiny, but it is, of course, it is full of moreness. People do use terms like heavy and deep. If you are in search of something instant, like ramen noodles, this is not the place where you will find that. But this is a place where you will satisfy your awareness, thirst, and hunger. Yes, it is going to be deep. Yes, it is going to be heavy. Yes.
It's gourmet.
Because you are.
7 course, never mind
important.
5 course.
Yes. But because you are important, you matter. So everything about you is not going to be like instant or just like a snowflake. No, it cannot be. So things about you personally affecting you is going to be heavy and deep. So please be patient with yourself and be patient with us also, that things are going to be really, really deep on this channel. Okay,
the rewards of patience, even a little bit. Moreness, there's so much to it that you do need to venture into it in order to really connect to it. And that venturing requires that patience and discipline a bit sometimes even a little bit of forbearance. But it's worth it. It's worth it. It's like the universe tests you and saying, well, okay, are you satisfied with your life, or do you really want more? Do you really want more? Are you willing to actually make a bit of effort? If not, this is not for you. Because without making that effort, not only the effort to be a little bit patient and maybe disciplined, sometimes even a bit of forbearance, but the effort to learn how to discern, the effort to learn how to be more aware, the effort to learn how to understand, the effort to learn how to apply it, to bring it into your life. If you're not willing to make that little bit of effort, you won't be able to actually utilize the moreness. You might even see it and connect to it, but it won't be able to become utilizable. So effort is absolutely the ability to make some effort, the necessary effort. This is required. And so the universe tests us. The universe tests us because it's not going to waste its time and energy and gifts on us if we are not interested in making that bit of effort.
Yes.
Right.
So, okay, now we are going to
continue. Yes.
With the capital R reading of books.
It's very exciting.
About Don.
Yes, thank you, Beena. Thank you for the update and the upgrade and the adjustment. Very important. Very important.
And we are doing capital R
they
reading.
are about Don Juan, at least they about the apprenticeship with Don Juan. Carlos isn't specifically focused on sharing about Don Juan himself. He's sharing what Don Juan teaches him. Right? So, but for us, we are reading to get to know Don Juan, yes, and get to connect with Don Juan. That's us. That's our capital R reading, our moreness that we bring to things. Also, I wanted to say, I want to make a bit of an effort to read, and maybe just, yes, it's a capital R reading, and we jump in when something comes up. But I'm going to try and do that as as briefly as I can and less, because I want to get through this book to book 2 and get through all these parts where Don Juan's doing the smoking and the peyote and the devil's weed and all the stuff. It's not something that is a focus for us, and it distorts the intent. We are here to learn and grow as individuals. This is not replicatable, and therefore we cannot use it. So it's of interest, but not of usable value for us personally, right? So that's why I want to get through this. And it's giving the wrong image, because by so much focus on it, it seems like this is the most important thing. It's not. It's actually very unimportant according to Don Juan. It's necessary with Carlos, but Carlos is a special case because Carlos is very dense and he needs to collapse his worldview, but that's not happening. And it takes a long time for Don Juan to succeed, but it's to our benefit. Again, the whole entire book series and everything's all about attunement. So Carlos's obtuseness and density and stuckness in his bubble, it causes Don Juan to try many different things. So we get to see the full range of what Don Juan has to offer, or at least a lot. We don't know if it's the full range, but it's very full, whatever the range is. All right, Beena, let me just. Doesn't matter. You can't see them. Will you please read?
Okay. I'm just sharing video on IG. Just a minute.
Oh, we are live on IG, so I'm not sure how you mean.
Yes, I'm just sharing. I'm sharing with other people. Yes.
Oh, I see. Brilliant. Very cool.
This is what I do regularly. This is something. And of course, I was responding to YouTube also.
So good, Beena. That's so good. Yeah.
Okay. So now we'll continue with our capital R reading, and hope our regular friends will join us. This is something I'm just assuming that this is going to happen. If not, yes.
Right. There's never an expectation of anybody to join. Never. And of course, never ever any obligation either. But it doesn't matter. You know, we never take it for granted. Even if you do come every day, it's a gift, a special, wonderful, magical gift when you do come.
Yes.
Every time is precious. Important. All right, please go ahead, Beena. Please go ahead.
Yes. Okay. And you are going to look at IG, because I don't see people's name there.
Yes,
so this
yes.
Is something only you can see.
I'll keep an eye on IG. I'm not seeing anybody there yet either. Yes, but I'll keep an eye. I like to welcome people when they come. I'll keep an eye.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Wednesday, 27 January 1965. On Tuesday night, it is jumping. So sorry, your screen is okay. Yeah. On Tuesday, 19th January, I smoked again the hallucinogenic mixture. I had told Don Juan I felt very apprehensive about the smoke and that it frightened me. He said I had to try it again to evaluate it with justice. We walked into his room. It was almost 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He brought out the pipe. I got the charcoals. Then we sat facing each other. He said he was going to warm up the pipe and awaken her. And if I watched carefully, I would see how she glowed. He put the pipe to his lips 3 or 4 times and sucked through it. He rubbed it tenderly. Suddenly, he nodded, almost imperceptibly, to signal me to look at the pipes, awakening. I looked, but I couldn't see it. He handed the pipe to me. I filled the bowl with my own mixture and then picked a burning charcoal with a pair of tweezers I had made from a wooden clothespin and had been
remember the last time Don Juan did it? He picked up the coal with his fingers very quickly, and Carlos was like, that doesn't sound so cool to me. So I love this. This is very Carlos. This is quintessential Carlos, right? But this is very cool. It's in its own way. It's kind of fun. So what does Don Juan say about this?
Okay, had been saving for this occasion. Don Juan looked at my tweezers and began to laugh. I was for a moment, and the charcoal is stuck to the tweezers. I was afraid to tap them against the pipe bowl, and I had to spit on the charcoal to put it out. Don Juan turned his head away and covered his face with his arm. His body shook. For a moment, I thought he was crying, but he was laughing silently. The action was interrupted for a long time. Then he swiftly picked up a charcoal himself, put it in the bowl, and ordered me to smoke. It required quite an effort to suck through the mixture. It seemed to be very compact. After the first try, I felt I had sucked the fine powder into my mouth. It numbed my mouth immediately. I saw the glow in the bowl, but I never felt the smoke as the smoke of a cigarette is felt. Yet I had the sensation of inhaling something that filled my lungs first and then pushed itself down to fill the rest of my body. I counted 20 inhalations, and then the count did not matter any longer. I began to sweat. Don Juan looked at me fixedly and told me not to be afraid to do exactly as he said. I tried to say all right, but instead I made a weird howling sound. It went on resounding after I had closed my mouth. The sound startled Don Juan, who had another attack of laughter. I wanted to say yes with my head, but I couldn't move. Don Juan opened my hands gently and took the pipe away. He ordered me to lie down on the floor, but not to fall asleep. I wondered if he was going to help me lie down, but he did not. He just stared at me uninterruptedly. All of a sudden, I saw the room tumbling, and I was looking at Don Juan from a position on my side. From the point on, the images became strangely blurry. As in a dream, I can vaguely recall hearing Don Juan talk to me a great deal during the time I was immobilized. I did not experience fear or unpleasantness during the state itself, nor was I sick upon awakening the next day. The only thing out of the ordinary was that I could not think clearly for some time after waking up. Then, so please scroll.
Sorry.
Then gradually, in a period of 4 or 5 hours, I became myself again. Wednesday, 20th January 1965. Don Juan did not talk about my experience, nor did he ask me to relate it to him. His sole comment was that I had fallen asleep too soon. The only way to stay awake is to become a bird or a cricket or something of the sort. I said, how do you do that, Don Juan? That is what I'm teaching you. Do you remember what I said to you yesterday while you were without your body? I can't recall clearly. I'm a crow. I'm teaching you how to become a crow. When you learn that, you will stay awake and you will move freely. Otherwise, you will always be glued to the ground, wherever you fall. Sunday, 7th February, 1965. My second attempt with the smoke took place about midday on Sunday, 31st January. I woke up the following day in the early evening. I had the sensation of possessing an unusual power to recollect whatever Don Juan had said to me during the experience. His words were imprinted on my mind. I kept on hearing them with extraordinary clarity and persistence. During this attempt, another fact became obvious to me. My entire body had become numb soon after I began to swallow the fine powder, which got into my mouth every time I sucked the pipe. Thus, I not only inhaled the smoke, but also ingested the mixture. I tried to narrate my experience with Don Juan. He said I had done nothing important. I mentioned that I could remember everything that had happened, but he did not want to hear about it. Every memory was precise and unmistakable. The smoking procedure had been the same as in the previous attempt. It was almost as if the two experiences were perfectly juxtaposable.
Juxtaposed. Oh, juxtaposable. Sorry, I was looking at the word. I just heard it. Yeah, yes. Juxtaposable. Yes. Oh, wow. Yeah, interesting word. Yeah.
Yes, I could start my recollection from the time the first experience ended. I clearly remembered that from the time I fell to the ground on my side, I was completely devoid of feeling or thought, that my clarity was not impaired in any way. I remember thinking my last thought at about the time the room became a vertical plane. I must have clamped my head on the floor, yet I don't feel any pain. From the point on, I could only see and hear. I could repeat every word Don Juan had said. I followed each one of his directions. They seemed clear, logical, and easy. He said that my body was disappearing and only my head was going to remain. And in such a condition, the only way to stay awake and move around was by becoming a crow. He commanded me to make an effort to wink, adding that whatever I was capable of winking, I would be ready to proceed. Then he told me that my body had vanished completely and all I had was my head. He said the head never disappeared because the head is what turns into a crow. He ordered me to wink. He must have repeated this command and all his other commands countless times because I could remember all of them with extraordinary clarity. I must have winked because he said I was I was ready and ordered me to straighten up my head and put it on my chin. He said that in the chin were the crow's legs. He commanded me to feel the legs and observe that they were coming out slowly. He then said that I was not solid yet, that I had to grow a tail, and that the tail would come out of my neck. He ordered me to extend a tail like a fan and to feel how it swept the floor. Then he talked about the crow's wings and said they would come out of my cheekbones.
So the head becomes the crow, in other words, right? In this particular, very interesting.
Yes. He said it was hard and painful. He commanded me to unfold them. He said they had to be extremely long as I could stretch them. Otherwise, I would not be able to fly. He told me the wings were coming out and were long and beautiful, and that I had to flap them until they were real wings.
Wow.
He talked about the top of my Yes. He talked about the top of my head next and said it was still very large and heavy, and its bulk would prevent me flying. He told me that the way to reduce its size was by winking. With every wink, my head would become smaller. He ordered me to wink until the top weight was gone and I could jump freely. Then he told me I had reduced my head to the size of a crow. And
it's interesting. Sorry, Beena, to interrupt you real quick.
No, please.
It's interesting that Don Juan says, or Carlos says, wink, which is one eye. I suspect it's probably blink, but we'll go with what's said. You have to trust it, right?
Yes, I was assuming that too.
It's blink, like birds do. You see them how they do that, right?
Yes.
That's why I'm saying wink. I personally would imagine that it's more blink than wink, but we have to go with what it is, right? But again, this is capital R reading, right? If you all right, in this case, it doesn't really matter. I'm unlikely to be in that situation, but am I in a dream? And then I'll remember this. Okay, if the winking doesn't work, which is it's a one blinking, yes, blinking. Interesting.
Oh, yes. Okay. And then I had to walk around and hop until I had lost my stiffness. There was one last thing I had to change, he said, before I could fly. It was the most difficult change. And to accomplish it, I had to be docile and do exactly as he told me. I had to learn to see like a crow.
Stop there and reread that again, please, Beena.
Okay. Until I had lost my stiffness.
No, the last part, until I had learned to?
Until I had learned to see like a crow.
to see like a crow. Now, here, that's why I wanted to stop there. C is not italicized.
Yes.
Right? But
Yes.
later it will be, and there's a difference. So, all right. So this is first the crows see things differently, just in a regular way. But then there's capital S seeing, which we're going to see later when it's italicized. Now, Carlos doesn't do the capital S, but in Way of Impeccability, in the language of conceptionality, we use this capitalization to indicate that there's a moreness to this term, right? Rather than just emphasized. Emphasis doesn't do it enough justice. So it's quite important.
I did emphasize it, okay, because of my own expression.
Right. That's why I thought it was italicized, because I was busy looking somewhere else while I was listening. That's why I thought it was italicized, but it's not, which is interesting. Wonderful. Please keep going, Beena.
Okay, he said that my mouth and nose were going to grow between my eyes until I had a strong beak. He said that crows see straight to the side and command me to turn my head and look at him with one eye. He said that if I wanted to change and look with the other eye, I had to shake my beak down, and that movement would make me look through the other eye. He ordered me to shift from one eye to the other, and then he said I was ready to fly, and that the only way to fly was to have him toss me into the air.
Wow.
I had no difficulty whatsoever eliciting the corresponding sensation to each one of his commands. I had the perception of growing birds' legs, which were weak and wobbly up at first. I felt a tail coming out of the back of my neck and wings out of my cheekbones. The wings were folded deeply. I felt them coming out by degrees. The process was hard but not painful. Then I winked my head down to the size of a crow. But the most astonishing effect was accomplished with my eyes. My birds sighed. When Don Juan directed me to grow a beak, I had an annoying sensation of lack of air. Then something bulged out and created a block in front of me. But it was not until Don Juan directed me to see laterally that my eyes actually were capable of having a full view to the side. I could wink one eye at a time. Wow, it is winking.
Now it's winking. Yes, now it's winking, because now it's one eye only, right? Before it was not specified one eye at a time. Because then I would imagine Don Juan would have said, wink first one eye, then the other, wink them independently, right? Because that's what you wink. If you wink them together, then it's blinking, right? And it's a different sensation. So it's interesting. Maybe, that's why I don't want to say definitively. I have to speculate, right? But that's what we do. We get an idea. We look at the fullness, the moreness, what things could be. We don't just accept automatically. But anyway, now it's very specifically wink. Yes.
Yes, I could wink one eye at a time and shift the focusing from one eye to the other. But the sight of the room and all the things in it was not like an ordinary sight. Yet it was impossible to tell in what way it was different. Perhaps it was lopsided, or perhaps things were out of focus. Don Juan became very big and glowing. Something about him was comforting and safe. Then the images blurred, they lost their outlines and became sharp abstract patterns that flickered for a while. Oh, wow.
Yeah. This is really interesting, this part. Just because of the understanding that perception doesn't follow our paradigm. Our eyes look straight ahead. The crows are completely on either side of its head. The one eye's vision does not overlap with what the other eye sees, right? The way ours does. Very different. Very, very different, right?
Yes.
And if you actually watch crows or ravens, and you see that, well, but other birds do it too, but them in particular, they will cock their heads to look clearly with one eye, like if they're looking at something that's in front of them, like us, right? We won't turn our heads, but they'll turn their head to align that eye. Yes? Do you know what I'm talking about,
Yes.
Beena? Have you seen this?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And so this to me is, it's really fascinating because we're getting to see inside another paradigm. And that's always valuable, right? That's always valuable. Always valuable.
Yes. Please scroll so
Oh, right.
then I
Sorry.
can
Yeah,
read
yeah,
the
yeah,
full.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, sorry, sorry, sorry. There you go.
Sunday, 28 March 1965. On Thursday, 18th March, I smoked again the hallucinogenic mixture. The initial procedure was different in small details. I had to refill the pipe bowl once. After I had finished the first batch, Don Juan directed me to clean the bowl. But he poured the mixture into the bowl himself because I lacked muscular coordination. It took a great deal of effort to move my arms. There was enough mixture in my bag for one refill. Don Juan looked at the bag and said, "This was my last attempt with the smoke until the next year because I had used up all my provisions." He turned the little bag inside out and shook the dust into the dish that held the charcoals. It burned with an orange glow, as if he had placed a sheet of transparent material over the charcoals. The sheet burst into flame, and then it cracked into an intricate pattern of lines. Something zigzagged inside the lines at high speed. Don Juan told me to look at the movement in the lines. I saw something that looked like a small marble rolling back and forth in the glowing area. He leaned over, put his hand into the glow, picked out the marble, and placed it in the pipe bowl. He ordered me to take a puff. I had a clear impression that he had put the small ball into the pipe so that I would inhale it. In a moment, the room lost its horizontal position. I felt a profound numbness, a sensation of heaviness. When I awakened, was lying on my back at the bottom of a shallow irrigation ditch, immersed in water up to my chin. Someone was holding my head up. It was Don Juan. The first thought I had was that the water in the channel had an unusual quality. It was cold and heavy. It slept lightly against me, and my thoughts cleared with every movement it made. At first, the water had a bright green halo, or fluorescence, which soon dissolved, leaving only a stream of ordinary water. I asked Don Juan about the time of day. He said it was early morning. After a while, I was completely awake and got out of the water. "You must tell me all you saw," Don Juan said when he got to his house. He also said he had been trying to bring me back for 3 days and had a very difficult time doing it. I made numerous attempts to describe what I had seen, but I could not concentrate. Later on, during the early evening, I felt I was ready to talk with Don Juan and began to tell him what I remembered from the time I had fallen on my side. But he did not want to hear about it. He said the only interesting part was what I saw and did after he tossed me into the air and I flew away. All I could remember was a series of dreamlike images or scenes. They had no sequential order. I had the impression that each of one of them was like an isolated bubble, floating into focus and then moving away. Oh, I love this way of describing. Sometimes, yes, things happen
Read
in
it
that.
again, please.
I had the impression that each one of them was like an isolated bubble, floating into focus and then moving away.
Wow, wow.
About the dreams, sometimes it is
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, 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 yeah.
They were not, however, merely scenes to look at. I was inside them. I took part in them. When I tried to recollect them at first, I had the sensation that they were vague, diffused flashes, but as I thought about them, I realized that each one of them was extremely clear, although totally unrelated to ordinary
Oh,
seeing.
sorry, I
Hence,
thought you'd already seen it. Yeah.
no, unrelated, okay, unrelated to ordinary seeing. Hence, the sensation of vagueness. The images were
Oh.
few and simple. As soon as Don Juan mentioned that he had tossed me into the air, I had a faint recollection of an absolutely clear scene in which I was looking straight at him from some distance away. I was looking at its face, only it was monumental in size. It was flat and had an intense glow. His hair was yellowish and it moved. Each part of his face moved by itself, projecting a sort of amber light.
All right. So this is
Next,
very interesting. This perception, right, of Don Juan's
yes.
face, the movement, all this. Don Juan, Carlos is experiencing the beginnings of capital P perception. Don Juan calls it seeing, italicized seeing, capital S seeing. But
Hmm.
it's a better term to say perceiving, capital P perceiving. Perceiving energy directly if you want to be really precise. Keep this in mind for as we go down the road in the future. I know, Beena, we've talked about this a lot, so I'm not saying it to you, but just anybody listening. That this term, capital P, perceiving, and the perception of energy directly. This is what capital P perceiving is, right? And that's what's starting to happen for Carlos here. It happened with the water. It's now happening with Don Juan's face. Very important stuff. Very important.
This is very interesting. Of course, it
Yeah.
is not exactly like this, but it just reminded me that when my granny passed away, and I was very close to her, I saw her
Transition. Yeah.
in a dream, like after a week um, of a transition. I saw her in a dream, and in the dream, I saw that every single hair, like on her face and on her skin overall, was glowing like it was made of gold or copper.
There you go. There you go. But glowing with an energy or not just glowing.
Yes,
That
and
energy,
I
that luminescence, that's starting to
yes,
see energy directly. Yeah.
and I shared with my mother at the time that I
Wow.
this is how I saw my granny. So because it was very interesting even in my dream because I was paying attention to that how that like you have that those facial hair on your around your nose around your cheeks. Very, she was not a hairy kind of a
Fine.
person,
Yeah.
but just fine the
Yeah.
hair, which can only be visible if you have goosebumps like really extreme. Then you can notice that type
Uh,
of hair. But every single hair was glowing like it is made of gold or copper
wow, Veena. Wow.
because it was a reddish glow, kind of golden reddish or reddish golden type
Yeah,
of
you were
glow.
perceiving energy directly there. You were perceiving energy directly. That's fantastic.
So that
How long
was,
ago was this, Veena?
yeah, it's been like maybe 17 or 18 years, maybe more. I don't remember.
17 or 7?
No, no, 17.
17. Wow, your age. All right. Please
Mm,
continue. That's fantastic,
yes,
Veena. That's fantastic.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
very
as
cool.
soon as Don Juan mentioned that he had tossed me into the air, I had a faint recollection of an absolutely clear scene in which I was looking straight at him from some distance away. I was looking at his face only. It was monumental in size. It was flat and had an intense glow. His hair was yellowish and it moved. Each part of his face moved by itself, projecting a sort of amber light. The next image was one in which Don Juan had actually tossed me up or hurled me in a straight onward direction. I remember I extended my wings and flew. I felt alone, cutting through the air, painfully moving straight ahead. It was more like walking than like flying. It tired my body. There was no feeling of flowing free, no exuberance. Then I remembered an instant in which I was motionless, looking at a mass of sharp, dark edges set in an area that had a dull, painful light. Next, I saw a field with an infinite variety of lights. The lights moved and flickered and changed their luminosity. They were almost like colors. Their intensity dazzled me. At another moment, an object was almost against my eye. It was a thick, pointed object. It had a definite pinkish glow. I felt a sudden tremor somewhere in my body and saw a multitude of similar pink forms coming towards me. They all moved on me. I jumped away. The last scene I remembered was three silvery birds. They radiated a shiny metallic light, almost like stainless steel, but intense and moving and alive. I liked them. We flew together. Don Juan did not make any comments on my recounting. Isn't it amazing?
It is very amazing. Yeah. And well, there's more coming here. And, I understand it in a very interesting, very direct way. So very cool, Beena. Very cool. Okay. Tuesday, 23 March, 1965.
Yes. Okay. Tuesday, 23rd March, 19. The following conversation took place the next day after the recounting of my experience. Don Juan said, "It does not take much to become a crow. You did it, and now you will always be one." What happened after I became a crow, Don Juan? Did I fly for 3 days? No. You came back at nightfall as I had told you to. But how did I come back? You were very tired and went to sleep. That is all. I mean, did I fly back? I have already.
One second. You're very tired and went to sleep. That is all. Sleep is a transition mechanism. You will see lots of it later on. We've seen instances of it already. I just want to mention it, right? To understand that sleep, going to sleep, falling asleep, waking up, transition mechanisms. Yeah. I mean, we already kind of know this, but it's more than just, into sleep and wake. It's like, it's a transition mechanism. But it also gets you out of, like in this case, he was all being a crow, he went to sleep, he got out of it. That's it, transition, see? Different kind of transition that your granny made, but transition nonetheless.
Yes, yes. I mean, did I fly back? I have already told you. You obeyed me and came back to the house, but don't concern yourself with that matter. It is of no importance. What is important then? In your whole trip, there was only one thing of great value: the silvery birds. What was so special about it?
Yeah, right here, I'm with Carlos. Right? I mean, it's of importance to Don Juan, but how would Carlos know it is of importance?
Yes.
Based on the information that Carlos shares, there was no way for him to know. However, if Carlos had understood this understanding of this conception of anomalies, there would have been something anomalous about the silvery birds, and that's how I would have known they are significant. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. What was so special about them? They were just birds. Not just birds. They were crows. What are the white crows, Don Juan? The black feathers of a crow are really silvery. Crows shine so intensely that they are not bothered by other birds.
Very interesting point, right? And this is very true. A crow has no natural enemies in the air, right? I mean, crows, as Beena will tell you, right? Crows will peck on the heads of the eagles. And the only way the eagle can get rid of them is to fly higher than the crow can fly. So they are lord of the skies, really. Yeah, it's quite interesting. We always think, oh, the eagle, but they're not bothered by any predatory birds.
I think I shared with you before, Syl. I have a very funny story where crow really make me feel stupid.
Wow, let's hear it. Let's hear it. Now,
so when I was in
hang on,
school,
let me stop sharing. Let me stop sharing. Oh, you can put your camera on. You forgot to put your camera on. Oh, well.
Okay.
Yeah, tell the story when we can
So,
hear it from you.
so I was in school, like maybe in standard 9 or 8. Okay. So, and I was
Standard
not
9
an
or
early.
8 would be same as 8th grade or 9th grade?
Yes, 8th grade. Yes, 8th or 9th grade. Okay. And I was not innately an early riser. This is the problem I had throughout my life. Okay. So, yes. So, and one fine day, I got up early and I offered my morning prayer. And then I was like, okay, because I had a time before going to school, and everybody else was, after offering their prayer, they were sleeping. So I just went to the window we have, just opening in the open area. So I was standing there, just enjoying rare, fine morning. So I was just standing there, and I saw a crow, and it came and just sat there, and it was very obvious that it was trying to grab my attention, the way it was looking. And then it is very common in birds. You know that they are trying to communicate with you. I don't know. It is very obvious and clear for me.
Or get
And
your
I knew
attention,
that,
if not communicate,
yes,
get your attention, which is a kind of a communication, correct?
kind of a communication, because they do share awareness. Okay. So when it just grabbed my attention, and I was looking at it, and somehow I became aware that the crow was hungry and asking for food. So I said, okay, I go inside and just put out some slice of breads, and I was throwing it from the window. They're like, so the crow can grab it or like take it. The crow literally looked directly into my eyes when I threw all like few pieces there. And it was a pause for a few moments. And then the crow grabbed one piece of bread, flew away, and I was looking at it. And then the crow go to the next building where I could see that crow. And there was a window AC there in someone's balcony, and there was a cavity between the window AC and the wall. And the crow hid that piece of bread there. Then came back, looked at me, and then picked another slice. And then went to another place. There was another cavity somewhere in the building, and then just hide another one there. And then pick another one. And then he did, or he or she, and of course, the crow couldn't find another place, looked at me again with the piece of bread in its mouth. And I was just staring at the crow. And then put that, yes, and then the crow put that slice of bread underneath the grid. There was a grid of iron there, and then put there, and then bring a piece of paper, put it on top of the slice of bread or piece of bread, and then put a small rock on top of it to secure it.
Wow.
And then started eating the leftover pieces. Why I was saying that I was feeling stupid, and the crow made me feel like stupid, because the crow was telling me, of course, the communication was just via awareness, that you are not going to come tomorrow, and I'm just saving this food for the rainy days.
Wow.
And I was like, seriously.
The world does not work the way we think it does.
Yes.
And now, to me, I don't say the crow, I just call him crow, because to me, it's like when Don Juan was talking about the smoke or the plant, particularly, right?
Okay,
the individual plant is a representation of a greater. Right.
Yes.
Right. Well, no. But here we are going to, normally we would just say the crow, but I prefer to say crow, because I'm connecting to crowness, and crowness is a moreness. And sometimes, like in your case, you were connecting to crow rather than that particular crow. Now, that particular crow was an
Yes.
instance of the deeper intelligence of Cronus. Yes, like when we connect to our humanity,
Yes.
it's we connecting to the greater collectiveness, right? So just a small distinction, but it also, crows are special, and so I pay
Yeah.
attention to them. I think everything is special, really. So, all right, don't get me
Everything
wrong.
is
I'm not saying
special.
one is more special than other, but everything is special. But crows certainly,
Everything
I
is
have a
special,
resonance with
including
crows. Yeah, yeah,
yes, and birds and everyone.
yeah.
But that was something, and it
That's
was a
something. That's
communication.
something.
It was
Yeah,
communication, like exchange of awareness. The
yeah,
way Crow was
yeah,
looking at me, I was understanding what the Crow was doing, what Crow was doing at the time.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, very
It
powerful.
was,
Very, very powerful,
it
right?
was
And
exactly like a teasing, fun conversation with a friend. Literally, it
wow,
felt like that,
wow.
and I was teased by that. Like
Yeah.
seriously, now
Ah,
you're going to
that's
tease me like this.
fantastic.
Yes.
That's
And I
absolutely
shared with my mother
fantastic.
and family that this is what happened with me, and everybody was laughing. Of course, they were not they
Yeah.
were not considering it as something like oh very anomalous or something.
Significant. Right.
Yeah, but they were saying, okay, yeah, see, interesting, because this is an
Right.
understanding here
And that's
that of
part of
course
mourners now, right? I suspect if you shared that incident today, you might get a bit of a different reaction. Yes.
yes, now they understand me more because I do communicate with animals. I don't know how, but
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
what
Being a
happens.
Doolittle. Being a Doolittle.
Kind of, yes.
A
Because
little
I
bit.
know that they
But it's
understand.
it's just about
I
having
never
an
consider them
openness.
stupid. No, I never consider them
Exactly.
stupid. They do.
Exactly.
They do understand things and they
Yeah.
communicate also. And they
Yeah.
have personalities also. Like some are
Oh, very much. Oh, very much.
nice, some are very good, some are chill, some are just fun loving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
voila.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so the crows, yes, they have.
Fantastic. Please continue, Veena. Please continue.
You have to share a screen.
Oh! I stopped sharing to hear your story. Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. Which is good, and we could see you while you were sharing your story, which was nice. Right? It was very cool. Most wonderful.
I guess
There
I
we go.
shared this story before also with you.
You did. Yes, I love it though. Again, to me, power, stories of power, tales of power, which is the name of the book for. Uh, Tales of power are very, very important. I can listen to them over and over and over again. There's always mourners involved,
Now,
right? Because they
now
are
they
they are
have,
tales of mourners. They're mourner
yes,
stories.
in the past they were just like okay fun stories, like I was enjoying that and I was a bit teased by that, okay, feeling a bit like
Yeah,
okay seriously now the crows are going to tease me and all that, but now they have a different meaning. Now
they have
this story
significance.
has a completely different meaning and understanding,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
especially in context right now when we are
Right.
reading this. Now it
Exactly. It's
has a
about
different
and
meaning.
it's about awareness to understand that the world doesn't work the way we
Yes,
think it does. We have a typical way of thinking to communicate, but we can communicate in other ways.
yes,
That was the fantastic lesson there, right? Also, the
yes,
awareness that you know,
yes.
crow is a mournus, and oh wow, again, right? Things don't work the way we think it does. And that's the key takeaway, right? That's
Yes.
so potent, so powerful, so wonderful, and so valuable. Very cool. Please
Oh,
continue, Beena.
yes. Okay. Why did their feathers look silvery? Because you were seeing as a crow sees. A bird
Very
that
important.
looks dark to us looks white to a crow. The white pigeons, for instance, are pink or bluish to a crow. Seagulls are yellow. Now try to remember how you joined them. I thought about it, but the birds were a dim, disassociated image which had no continuity. I told him I could remember only that I felt I had flown with them. He asked me whether I had joined them in the air or on the ground, but I could not possibly answer that. He became almost angry with me. He demanded that I think about it. He said, all this will not mean a dime. It will only be, it will be only a mad dream unless you remember correctly. I strained myself to recollect, but I could not.
Interesting. 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 Oh, let me scroll, Beena. Me too.
Yes.
There we go.
Sunday, April 3, 1965. Today I thought of another image in my dream about the silvery birds. I remembered seeing a dark mass. Mass or moss? Yeah.
Mass.
Okay. Yes. Seeing a dark mass with my, myriads of pinholes. In fact, the mass was a dark cluster of little holes. I don't know why I thought it was soft. As I was looking at it, 3 birds flew straight at me. One of them made a noise. Then all 3 of them were next to me on the ground. I described the image to Don Juan. He asked me from what direction the birds had come. I said I couldn't possibly determine that. He became quite impatient and accused me of being inflexible in my thinking. He said I could very well remember if I tried to, and that I was afraid to let myself become less rigid. He said that I was thinking in terms of men and crows, and that I was neither a man nor a crow at the time that I wanted to recollect. He asked me to remember what the crow had said to me. I tried to think about it, but my mind played on scores of other things instead. I couldn't concentrate. Sunday, 4th April, 1965. Today I thought of another image in my dream. Oh, okay. Now, I took a long hike today. It was quite dark before I reached Don Juan's house. I was thinking about the crows when suddenly a very strange thought crossed my mind. It was more like an impression or a feeling than a thought. The bird that had made the noise said they were coming from the north and were going south. And when we meet again, they would be coming the same way. I told Don Juan that I had thought up or maybe remembered. He said, don't think about whether you remembered it or made it up. Such thoughts fit men only. They do not fit crows, especially those you saw. For they are the emissaries. What is the word, Syl?
Emissaries.
Emissaries.
Sorry, emissaries.
What is emissaries?
Something that comes ahead to announce what's coming. And like, you know, in the old days for the royalty, an emissary, like an ambassador, but they just come kind of once, you know, ambassadors come regularly, right? An emissary,
emissaries of your fate.
Yeah, a foreteller maybe, but you know, like somebody that gets sent, something that gets, yeah, anyway.
Yes. You are already a crow. You will never change that. From now on, the crows will tell you with their flight about every turn of your fate. In which direction did you fly with them? I couldn't know that, Don Juan. If you think properly, you will remember. Sit on the floor and...
If you think properly, in other words, it's not always about memory. You can construct it. You can discern it. Yeah? Just pay attention to all the clues and then you can figure it out, in other words, right? And that's thinking properly. Yeah.
Okay, of course not like that, but I remember that whenever you ask me about the dream, like, okay, oh, which dream, and I'm sharing, so they are just significant things I can tell you. And then you say, then okay, so what about that? And what about that? What about? Sometimes it feels a bit irritating that how would I know this is just happened, so it was in dream, but you were insisting on that you can remember. Okay, what about this? And then you come in roundabout many ways and all.
Or at least that you can figure it out.
Yes. So, and I was not getting it. I can understand the irritation or the frustration of Carlos right here. That how because for Don Juan, this is like duh, but not for Carlos.
Right. Correct.
See,
correct.
That if something
but Don Juan is pressuring him to change how he thinks. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. He's thinking only in terms of memory, but memory is not all there is. Memory is actually low, very low on the order when it comes to thinking. What's more important is to take what you do remember and start to look at what it implies, what you can infer from it, what you can deduce from it, what you can construct from it. And also to use what you do remember as cueing for what's to come. Look how Don Juan Carlos remembered stuff because he was immersed, he was trying to, right? So that's a different thing. Don't assume because you don't remember it now that it's not rememberable. Also another point of discernment, right? See, so because if you get stuck, oh, I don't remember, you keep saying that, then you actually wipe out the memory. It's like you're starting to erase things. Say, let me see, I'm not sure. And then let it come, right? Like creativity, we do the same thing with creativity, right? We know when you're writing a poem or when we come on Zoom, you let things happen. Let the memory happen also. See, there's a whole ton of things that are involved here now. That like Carlos just wasn't part of his idea. He had only one idea. That's it, one. Well, I don't remember, and that was the end of that. And he just gives up. Right? So a lot of things. Don't just give up, Carlos. Don't just give up. There's more. There's more.
But just a minute, Syl. We have Christopher Abbott here on YouTube. And
you know, I forgot all about checking the chats. I got so engrossed and immersed in listening to you. Hello, Christopher Abbott. Hello, Christopher Abbott. And Norma's here too. Norma, I never looked at the chats. I'm sorry. And we have Bold Braid TV training. We have to go, Beena. We have to go. All right. So hello and goodbye. I just, sorry. I just realized that. I saw my notification pop up and we're 2 minutes late.
The Christopher
so we have to go.
is saying I had 2 crows come to me in certain places for a week, cawing at me. I was concerned and considered it an omen. Soon 2 people close to me get very sick. Got very sick. Wow. Okay. Wow. Different frequencies. Okay, we will discuss it tomorrow.
Yes. We'll discuss it more tomorrow. I want to hear more, Christopher Abbott. That's very interesting. Very interesting. Okay, and hello and goodbye, Z Stella, who joined us on IG. We have to go. All right. Sorry.
Yes.
Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye. End live video. Stop share. And meeting for all. I'll see you back here on Zoom in a second.